Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. And I'm gonna say hello, hello, hello. I'm sitting here, still in Europe right now. I'm in Scotland right now, about to head back to Chicago, and it's been an interesting experience. We took I took my family here, but at the same time, I had some business to do out here. I appreciate those of you who came out to the London event. I had a really good time seeing you and talking to you. We spent 3 hours discussing finance, black wealth, black empowerment, and all the other things that matter to our community. It was really fun. It was kind of something I decided to do as a result of me already wanting to come to Europe. And I'm glad that we were able to kind of, you know, really break bread and build. Because I'm gonna tell you like this, I think that for Black people in America, I think you really want to get in tune with Black London because they're really in tune with you. I think they have a lot of respect for what's going on in our community with our people. And I think that we should sort of reciprocate, just kind of show that same respect back because unfortunately, Americans, we tend to be a little bit self-centered. We tend to focus on what's going on at home and we don't think about other Black people around the world, and I think that that's kind of a mistake because that's where our strength lies. Our strength lies in unifying with other Black people around the globe because right now your biggest problem as Black people is that you really don't have a home. You really don't have a space that's yours. You don't have a place that belongs to you. America belongs to you, but America is not really an easy place for you to build the way you need to build. So I think that we should connect with Black folks around the globe because I meet people from Africa who say, we got a lot of land in Africa. Come to Africa if you want some land. I meet people in different parts of the world who have skill sets that can help us get things done. I just want to encourage you to consider that if you haven't considered that yet. It doesn't mean that the issues at home don't matter more than other issues around the world, but it does mean that we probably want to broaden our thinking so that we can take advantage of the opportunities that exist out there. So do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do that. Also, shout out your city, or shout out your business, or your dream, or whatever it is you want to shout out. I like to see what cities you guys are coming from. Let me see here. Hold on, give me a second. I'm actually letting the rest of the tribe know that we're live. If you ever want to get a text notification when we go live, I don't send text messages out every time I go live, but if you want to remain connected, you got to connect to us in multiple ways because Facebook bans me about once every 2 to 3 weeks, and the problem is they'll ban people for things that you said 7, 8 years ago. Like literally, that's how bad Facebook has gotten. The last ban I received was from a post I shared, not something I said, but from a post I shared in 2013, and I didn't even make the comment. I just shared the article. So basically, Facebook is kind of on this real interesting witch hunt, and I don't know if you guys saw. In fact, I should probably talk about this a little bit later. But Twitter kind of went after Farrakhan recently. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the minister actually had some of his tweets taken down, and they made a lot of threats to him as well. So really, freedom of speech for Black people is something that we're going to have to fight for. The only way you could really be truly free is if you own the house that you're in. So even though we can't own Facebook yet, we can't own the Twitter yet, we do have things like Blag Enough. Somebody type in blagenough.com so other people can know how to spell it. BLAGGENUF. That's a word we invented. We trademarked that word. That's a word that we own. Nobody else can use that word for their platform. We invented that word because we wanted to have a word that was unique, and it sounds kind of like black enough, but that's really what it is. It's really black enough, but it's Blag Enough, BLAGGENUF, and that's kind of a Facebook for Black people. So I encourage you, in addition to your regular social media, go ahead and join Blag Enough also, so that we can have a space that we can meet where we're not going to be persecuted. The best way to deal with oppression and persecution is to get out, not to try to figure out how to survive under unfair circumstances. Just get out. So anyway, let me jump into this. And I see your cities here. I see Oakland, and I see what else do I see here? Patricia Garrett is in the house. Good to see you, Patricia. What other cities do I see? Jackson, Mississippi, Massachusetts. Let's see, Memphis. Travis Rick's Gold Acquisitions in Memphis, Panama, Miami, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Detroit, Philly, Connecticut, Cleveland, Tampa. Let's see, Miami. Pittsburgh. Okay, anchored in Pittsburgh. That's what's up. Much love and respect from the UK. Thank you, Brenda. I love you too, sister. I'm gonna tell you, when I go, I love walking through Black London and bumping into Black people, and I run into so many Black people that are just like, I won't even know. A lot of times I won't even know. Like I'll be like, I was at the airport once, and I had a real issue. I don't know if you guys know, the last time I came to the UK when they detained me, because I don't know why, but they did. And I had a hard time getting home, and actually it was two Black women that worked in the airport. One of them, saw me, and she said, yeah, I was going to go to your event the other day. I didn't even know the lady knew me. And she really took good care of me. And I really appreciated that. And I don't tell that story much, but that made a big difference for me. And it reminded me of how Black women have been saving Black men since the beginning of time. Like, the strongest, best Black women are the ones who are really there for us all the time. And I think it's very important for us as Black men to give thanks to those women whenever we possibly can, because y'all know that y'all got some people out here that don't want Black men to do well, including some damaged Black women who really gone through some stuff that unfortunately they've aligned with enemies to take down the Black man, because a lot of times the people we want to hurt the most are the ones who are closest to us. So in that particular environment, I just want to make sure we as Black men do the right thing and always show special respect and appreciation to those Black women that really have our backs. So anyway, let me jump into the conversation. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done that. Please hit the thumbs up button. All right, so here we go. So Bob Johnson, actually, from BET fame, he was in the news recently. He made some comments about Donald Trump. He made some comments about the Democratic Party. He made some comments about the economy that I thought were really interesting and worth digging into. Now, you guys know this is the platform for intelligent Black people. So we don't do surface analysis. We don't do the GED analysis. We don't do the level 1 analysis. We do level 1, level 2, level 3. It doesn't mean if you have a GED, it's no offense to you. I know a lot of brilliant people who have GEDs. I know some GED people or GED earning people who have more intelligence than a lot of the PhDs I know. So going to school for a long time does not automatically qualify you to be in this space. And not having gone to school for a long time doesn't mean you're disqualified. To me, intelligence comes down to a commitment to critical thinking skill, the desire and ability to go beyond the surface, to dig a little deeper, get out of the mainstream and create your stream, create my stream, our separate stream, so that we can really understand what's really going on in this country, so we can figure out where we want to stand. The other point I want to make very, very clear, and I make this point because we're going into election season, and Negroes get in their feelings, they start acting a damn fool, and they start saying stupid things like, well, you're telling Black people not to vote. Man, let's make this abundantly clear. I'm not telling Black people to vote or not to vote. I don't give a shit what you do when you vote. All I care about is that you're Black. I'm not voting in the election. I'm not voting Democrat. I'm not voting Republican. I'm voting for Black people. That's it. I'm voting for Black people. So whatever I see that's going to help Black people, I'm going to support it. If I don't feel that it's going to help Black people, then I'm not going to be a part of it, right? So I think that we have to get to that commitment of sort of taking all these cross-sectional issues, all these horizontal issues, and making them secondary and making Blackness primary. Strength to the Black community is what is primary. Wealth in the Black community is what is primary. Strong families in the Black community is what is primary. Strong educational institutions in the Black community is what is primary. Black people creating our own jobs is what's primary. Black people supporting Black businesses is what's primary. Black people building communities instead of neighborhoods is what's primary. Go deeper, 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 deeper. Tell me if you agree. Tell me if you're in alignment. Tell me if you understand where I'm coming from. Talk Black to me. Let me know that we're on the same page with this. This is really, really important. We've got to let go of the nonsense in order for us to get to the dollars and cents. We got to let go of the bullshit to get to the real shit, because unfortunately you're being fed a lot of bullshit in media. There's a lot of stuff out here that's just stupid. That's a waste of damn time. They got you involved in issues that don't even matter for you. Stuff that they got you fighting over, stuff that ain't even important to our people. They ain't going to have any impact on our people. And that's taking energy away from us doing what needs to be done, which is building. It's just like in my own career. Before I started talking to you guys and teaching in the way I teach here, I used to teach at Syracuse University, where I would spend time, teaching a classroom full of white kids. That didn't help my community, even though I got paid well to do it. And then I go to all these damn faculty meetings and deal with all this administrative bullshit. That didn't help my community, right? So I was putting out all this energy on all the things that did not matter. And that is what holds us back a lot of times, is that we major in the minors. And I encourage us to major in the majors. The majors are things that matter for your people, matter at home. All right. So what's up, Car? Is that Kari Muhammad up in there? Oh, Kelvin Muhammad. I'm sorry. What's up, Durham in the house, my brother? Good to see you, man. All right, so let me talk about Bob Johnson. Hit the thumbs up button, please. Please hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe at drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And also, don't forget, if you want to learn to invest and buy your first share of stock, we have a free training you can access at blackmoney100.com. That's blackmoney100.com. All right, so somebody in the comments, I know somebody out here is mad because it took me 10 minutes and 20 seconds to actually get to Bob Johnson. So you can write in the comments. He starts talking about Bob Johnson at the 10:28 mark. I see people do that. So go ahead and do that. If you got that short attention span, go ahead and write that in. All right. So Bob Johnson made comments about Trump, the Democratic Party, and about the economy that I thought were interesting. So I'm going to read some of his remarks, and then we're going to kind of try to do a fair analysis of what Mr. Johnson said. In an interview with CNBC, America's first Black billionaire and the founder of BET, Robert L. Johnson, weighed in on what he sees as the problems with the Democratic Party. The party, in my opinion, for me personally, has moved too far to the left, he says. He said in an interview on the network. And for that reason, I don't have a particular candidate I'm supporting in the party. At this time, I think that at the end of the day, if a Democrat is going to beat Trump, then that person, he or she, will have to move to the center. And you can't wait too long to do that. So in the interview, Johnson describes himself as a longtime centrist and Democrat who supported Hillary Clinton in 2016. He also urged people after Trump's election to give the new president a shot and the benefit of the doubt. So let me back up a little bit about what, in terms of what happens with Bob Johnson. Okay, first of all, with Bob Johnson, you know, it's not like he's some guy off the street. He's not some guy that's just talking that you don't know about. Bob Johnson has a lot of baggage. He's about 25, 30 years of baggage with the Black community. A lot of people are still pissed off at Bob for creating BET and turning it into what it became. Right. BET became a fucking mess. We know BET is still a mess. BET is still, now they, instead of working for a Black man, they're working for white folks, and they're out here promoting all kinds of nonsense that's destructive to the community. They try to water it down, like they'll do a little tribute to Colin Kaepernick or something, or the Central Park Five, whatever's hot and interesting that year, they'll do that. But then they'll go out, and the things that they promote the most are the things that sell the most. The things that sell the most tend to be the ratchet stuff. Why? Well, because you formed an addiction. Our community has formed, a segment of our community has formed an addiction to poison. We've formed an addiction to the things that harm us psychologically and otherwise, almost the way an alcoholic has an addiction to drinking a substance that makes him feel good but is killing his body, or an obese person has an addiction to sugar, right? Or a crackhead has an addiction to hitting that pipe every day. And because crackhead, I don't know if anybody's ever known any drug addicts before, but drug addicts are interesting people. Drug addicts that I've known, I know, or not all of them, but I've known a few drug addicts who were incredibly smart, who could tell you faster than you could tell them what the drug is doing to them. Like, they could tell you in detail, like, how the crack is killing them, but yet they'll still go hit the pipe. Like, they know it's going to kill them, right? They know this, right? It's not like you're giving them any new information by letting them know the drug is killing them, but the addiction, the pleasure of the addiction outweighs the long-term consequences of hitting that pipe every day, right? So the same thing is true with Black folks. We are America's addicts. We are addicted. Now, don't get me wrong. White folks are addicted to a lot of stuff too. White folks are addicted to white supremacy. White folks are addicted to excessive consumption, which is why Americans are in so much debt. That's why the country is going to eventually crack under all the debt that's on the federal government. White folks are addicted to dysfunction in terms of how the government runs. Our Democrats and Republicans can't get anything done. So they got their own addictions. Well, I'm talking about us. We have addictions to things that are clearly like I can clearly point out. I can break down 1,000 rap songs, and I've done it. You guys, if you ever want to see it, see something. I had a debate with Michael Eric Dyson about 10 years ago at Brown University, where we debated the merits of hip hop music and whether artists should have responsibility for their words. So I've been breaking down these things for a long time. And the video's out there on YouTube if you want to watch it. And the thing about it is, it's not that hard to explain how hip hop music, for example, which is heavily promoted by networks like BET, not all hip hop music, I'm talking about the strand that's gotten really, really destructive. It's easy to prove that this is like a clear blueprint of destruction, particularly for black males. It's a blueprint of black male self-destruction. And so it goes back to what Malcolm X used to say. Malcolm X used to say, the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk. He'll beg you to drink the liquor so that he can lock you up once your ass is drunk, right? Or the grocery store that will sell you fatty, sugary food in the front of the store and then sell your black ass diabetes medication in the back of the store. Right? They're like, we're going to create the problem, and then we're going to pay. We're going to charge you to create the problem. Then we're going to charge you money to fix the problem. That's what they do when they go to war. The corporations make money when the war happens, when they're destroying another country. Then they make money rebuilding the country so they can destroy it again in another war about 10, 20 years down the line. So ultimately, this is kind of what happens with black people. And you circle back to BET, Bob Johnson's creation. BET was kind of the original, like they're the original, they're the originators of extraordinary niggatry. Like they're the originators of this in the sense that they were the first ones to really heavily mass market ideas and images of black people that have affected black people to this day. There are people who go around the world now. David Banner, shout out to David. He came on the channel. David Banner said that when he was, back in the 90s, when he was going on world tours and he saw how the black man was being perceived by the world as a result of the music that was being promoted to the world, he said, I can't be a part of this anymore. So I'm appreciative of people like him. So anyway, so Bob Johnson brings baggage, which means that anything Bob Johnson says is going to be taken with a big grain of salt. It's going to be seen as a problem before it comes out of his mouth. And I think that that's fine. That's legit. There's no reason not to feel that way. But if you want to analyze his comments independently of how you might feel about Johnson, here's a couple of points. One, Johnson is absolutely correct about the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party, particularly under President Obama, went so far left that nobody knows what the hell they're doing. Seriously, they have gone so far left. Examples might be supporting like the Me Too movement and all this other nonsense that literally puts black men under such a microscope, racial profiling like a mug, where you got black men now that are in prison right now for sexually related crimes where there literally is no evidence. And when I speak up and I say, and I'm not a stupid person, I'm a professor. I say, well, where's the evidence? There's no evidence. Isn't there supposed to be evidence? I'm not a lawyer, but isn't there supposed to be proof? And they just won't say anything. White people are like, well, because we said so. Almost like your parents. Remember your parents used to say you would argue with your mama and your mama gets pissed because you start winning the argument. Anybody had that happen? Like that's if you argue with your mama, if you're losing, then it's okay. But if soon as you start winning, you really think you won, but you really didn't win. You're actually going to lose because eventually she's going to say, because I said so. Well, that's what white folks do. We make legitimate arguments about how we're being oppressed and how we're being mistreated. But they just say, well, because we said so, because this is our justice system. We made it the way we want, and we get to decide what the norms and values of this culture are going to be. But one great example, somebody wrote Free Albert Wilson. That's the hashtag. It's a website, freealbertwilson.com. Albert Wilson is a prototype, one example among many of a black man who is in prison right now, college student, no criminal record whatsoever, no record of him ever behaving in any sort of fashion that was that's problematic ever. A good guy. I talked to Albert Wilson's best friend, and he said Albert doesn't even hit on girls. Albert is in prison right now for sex that did not happen. They even admit that he didn't even have sex with the girl. He didn't penetrate her. I mean, it's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And anyway, the Democratic Party, by going so far left, and it isn't just that. Y'all heard me talk about Roland Fryer, a professor at Harvard, a black professor who was a high flyer, doing really well. And now he's been pretty much banned from Harvard for 2 years. He's been, pretty much put in almost like the academic version of the what do you call it? Sex offender registry, where they said, well, you can come back, but when you come back, you can't teach certain students. You can't do certain things. You don't have your lab anymore. They stripped him. They humiliated him in public over some accusations that, again, I didn't see any proof of any of this. Right. So the point is that a lot of this connects to things like Title IX on college campuses, which comes from the Me Too movement, which all that was pushed from the Obama administration. In fact, if you go back many years, you'll find a time where Joe Biden actually was reciting an incorrect statistic about, I think it was something like 1 in 4. Has anybody ever heard that statistic that 1 in 4 women on college campuses are raped or sexually assaulted or something like that? I think it's like 1 in 4, and everybody's like, oh my God, 1 in 4, that's a huge number. Well, that statistic was flawed. That was a biased statistic, and Biden just kept repeating it even though it wasn't true, even though the evidence wasn't true. Another one was where they said the chances of someone being falsely accused of rape is the same chances of being struck by lightning. I looked that up. I kept seeing liberals repeat the same thing because they got really mad at me when I was talking about all the black men who were falsely accused. They thought I was defending rapists, and I said, no, these men, a lot of these men are not rapists. I'm defending their right to truth, right? I'm not defending their right to rape anybody. My God, what kind of monster would I be? And I kept seeing them all repeat the same thing. They're like this little army of parakeets where they'll all say the same thing, and they think that because they repeat it enough times, it becomes true. Well, I researched that statistic, and I found out that it's not true. That whole, struck by lightning, like the same chances of being falsely accused or are equivalent to the chances of being struck by lightning, that is not true. Scholars have debunked that 1,000 times, but they don't listen because liberals, white folks, again, it goes back to because I said so. That because I said so, white supremacist thinking, because I said so means that even if I say some shit that you can prove is not true, I'm not even going to listen to you when you tell me why this is wrong or why this is incorrect, right? And so ultimately, that's the world you're dealing with. And I'm gonna tell you, the liberals have become the new Nazis of America. They literally have become about as oppressive as any regime I've ever seen in history. I mean, they're not doing what Hitler did, throwing Jews in the oven, which we know was a horrible thing, but they are throwing black people in the oven. They are responsible for throwing tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of black men into a criminal justice system where they're going through what the Central Park Five went through. The Central Park Five story was not a story. That was a prototype of or a microcosm of a systematic issue that has affected hundreds of thousands of black men all across this country. So they're not throwing Jews in the oven, but they're throwing black men in the oven. They're throwing black men in the oven. Do you know what it's like to go to? I mean, is anybody, raise your hand? Raise your hand if you know anybody. If you know anybody who is a veteran of the criminal justice system, who's ever been caught up with a situation involving going to jail, going to prison, or dealing with the police or whatever on a prolonged basis, probation, parole, yes or no? Yes or no? Yes. Give me a yes if you have somebody that you know, including yourself or a loved one, who is a veteran of the criminal justice system. I see Ranique, Tony, Rashana, Jerry, Jay Hood. I'm seeing more yeses than I can count. More yeses than I can count. Well, a lot of those people, they're Holocaust survivors. That's what they are. They're Holocaust. It's just we don't, white folks don't see it that way because they want to believe, again, liberals have an arrogance that makes them believe that they have some sort of moral and intellectual superiority over other people. So they will wag their finger and talk and condemn other people in other countries. And that's why African countries will rather do business with China than do business with the United States, because white folks, particularly white females, white liberal females, they tend to have this very weird self-righteousness where they feel the right to wag their finger at you and tell you you're a bad person. They do this to black men every day. And then some of the lead Negroes who work for the Democratic Party, they take on that persona. They become the overseers, so they take on Massa's persona. So that's where you get people like Simone Sanders, and Amanda Seals and crazy ass running around talking about black men are the reason that Trump got elected. Black men are gonna be the ones to take me down. Black men are blah 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 blah. Black men are homophobic. Black men are barbaric. Black men are yin 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 yin. Shut up. Just shut up. Just be quiet. I would never smack a woman, but if I ever started my woman smacking days, Amanda would be at the top of the list. But I'm not gonna smack Amanda. I'm just gonna smack her intellectually. That's what I'm gonna do. But I'm not gonna. I would never hit no woman. No real man would ever do that. But I'm telling you, when I hear her talk like that, it just makes me very, very sad because people like that don't understand the depth of their brainwashing, the depth of that arrogant self-righteousness. And here's the problem though. When you run around running your mouth like that, yapping at the world, wagging your finger at people, acting like you're better than them, well, you might think you're winning, but ultimately you're going to be losing. What happens is that you become, you realize that chickens always come home to roost. And so the Democratic Party went way far to the left and started engaging in what really can only be defined as massive amounts of social engineering, where they were, Obama, I mean, the LGBT agenda has never been forced down people's throats more than it was pushed down their throat during the Obama presidency. That's why Newsweek magazine named Obama the first gay president. Go read that article. They got a picture of Obama with a rainbow halo on his head that says he's the first gay president, because they were so appreciative that he was pushing the agenda down people's throats, and people were pissed. I know Christians who were pissed. I know Christians who were like, I ain't never ever hated nobody because of who they were fucking. I don't care who you have sex with when you go home at night, but I don't need you rubbing that in my face. I don't need you telling me if you like to have threesomes. I don't want you don't need to come tell me. Just go enjoy your life, live your best life. If you going home and having sex with your puppy, I guess that's between you and the police. I don't want to hear about that. Don't come to me and make me tell you that I think that's okay. If you want to go have sex with a piece of wood or with a coffee cup, then go do that. Be you. Do your thing. Because we all in church anyway. We got, the church is full of freaks, right? Everybody knows that, right? But what they did, which again, this has pissed a lot of people off, is they were pushing this down people's throat and saying, again, going back to censorship and oppression and bullying, tremendous amounts of bullying. They were saying, look, no, we need this to be in your face, and you need to give us the seal of approval that you agree with what I'm doing. So I'm going to allegedly fight for my freedom by taking your freedom away. I'm taking away your religious freedom by arguing that, I'm fighting for my sexual freedom. Like we're just like black people. Black people were oppressed for 400 years. Well, me being gay is the same as me being black. No, it's not. Stop that. Just stop that. Stop that. If you want to fight for your issue, fight for your issue. But stop pushing people around and bullying people, because what happens is that people will get to the point where their resentment goes underground. That's what happens. They'll say, you know what, I can't even say nothing. I can't even have a conversation because people will attack me, and they're gonna go off on me and call me all these names and say these things about me that aren't true. So I'm just gonna be quiet. So people sat back and got quiet. Half of America sat back and got quiet. You go ask the Christians about LGBT stuff, sometimes they'll tell you the truth, but a lot of them are going to just smile and not say anything. But you know what's going to happen? You know when they're going to do a lot of talking? In the next election. And that's what happened. When the election came along and Hillary was coming along with these super left agenda issues, the LGBT stuff and extreme feminism and all these other things that people didn't agree with, they didn't say anything. They just didn't vote for her. They voted for Trump. And so black men didn't put Trump in office. Even white people, nobody put Trump in office except the Democrats. The Democrats put Trump in office. Trump is a virus, or he is a flare-up. He is a flare-up that resulted from an undiagnosed, untreated medical condition that existed within the social and psychological and political fabric of this country. He is a flare-up, right? He's a flare-up of the fact that a lot of black folks were so sick of Obama that they said, I'm not even going to the polls. Y'all done lied to me, duped me, played me. Man, fuck y'all. Excuse my French. I'm not showing up and voting for you when you ain't giving my community nothing. And then you had a lot of even white folks, a lot of white Christians who are like, we can't stand this guy. But Hillary Clinton's up here telling us that we're bad people because we want to go to church and we believe what our pastor said. We read the Bible. Like, what's wrong with reading the Bible and believing what's in the Bible? Ain't no wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being a Christian. And I'm saying this as a guy who doesn't go to church. I'm kind of a heathen. I ain't gonna lie. I don't go to church, but I believe in the right of a human being to express themselves freely without fear of persecution. And right now, the liberals have become persecutors. They've become bullies. And in fact, their reaction to me even saying this is going to do nothing but prove my point. Their reaction to being accused of being bullies is to start bullying even further. They love to bully, shame, and attack and label and all these other things. And so going to the left has been costing them elections. And so Bob Johnson is correct on that point. He gets a check mark on that one. Now, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs up button. We're talking about Bob Johnson, from the former owner of BET, and his comments about Trump and the liberals and the Democratic Party and everything else. Also, don't forget, remind you guys, my investing masterclass starts on the 16th. So if you want to join my class, it's a great class. You'll love it. There's also a 30-day 100% money back guarantee. And if you're not happy for any reason, so don't, I don't want anybody in there who doesn't want to be there, but everybody who's in there loves it. You can go to drboycemasterclass.com. That's drboycemasterclass.com. Now, when am I going to address Jay Morrison's comments on reparations? I don't know. I got to call Jay and see what his comments are. Once I hear the comments, I can address them. I don't know what Jay said about reparations. Also, I'll be in Chicago on July 28th. If you want to learn about the event we're hosting in Chicago, go to drboycechicago.com. Feel free to fly in, or if you live in the area, it's going to be worth the drive. Again, everything we do has a money back guarantee. So if you're not happy for any reason, you can always get your money back. So anyway, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit that thumbs up button. On the count of three, everybody hit the thumbs up button, because it helps us on the algorithm. It brings more people into the conversation. So on the count of three, 1, 2, 3. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Everybody, please hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee while y'all hit the thumbs up button. I'm going to watch the number go. Let me see. Okay. All right. Good. Look at us. We got some black unity going on up in this mug. You guys hit the button. I appreciate that very much. Okay. So here's the thing about Johnson. So let me read more of Johnson's comments about the liberals and about Trump and all this other stuff. He says that people should give the new president a shot and the benefit of the doubt. Johnson also said the economy is currently doing great, and that he gives President Trump a lot of credit for moving the economy in a positive direction that's benefiting a large amount of Americans. He's not incorrect about that. I don't know how much Trump did to make this happen one way or the other, but I would say if you were going to give Obama credit for saving the economy, which he deserves credit for, then you have to give that credit to Trump for what's been going on with the economy. Anybody in here an investor or whatever? Has anybody seen your stock portfolio just skyrocket during the Trump presidency? If you have, say yes. Say yes, I have, or something like that. I'm just going to be honest with you. If you are a stock market investor, you have made money under the Trump presidency. Everything else, honestly, is entertainment. I don't care if Trump, doesn't like Steph Curry, or Kevin Durant doesn't want to go visit the White House. Who gives a shit? Kevin Durant makes $30 million a year. He's an NBA player. He can do whatever he wants. His relationship with Trump doesn't affect me one way or the other. I don't really care if Trump likes me or not. I don't care if any president likes me or not. All I care about is that you do right by our people. And I'd rather have a person who dislikes me who does right by my people than to have a person who likes me who doesn't do right by my people. You see, black people have to understand the difference between being liked and being respected. A lot of times, and you'll see this happen even in regular friendships, you can have a friend that really likes you but has no respect for you, but mistreats you, doesn't come through for you, doesn't give a damn about you. But you can have an enemy or somebody who doesn't like you at all, who respects you. Maybe they fear you. Maybe they feel like that they actually have to do what you need them to do, or maybe they see a benefit in partnering with you or whatever. So a lot of times, I think that we as black people, because we don't have our self-esteem, we look for people to like us. Like, it's more important, and they play us with that. They play us by basically saying, okay, let's pretend like we like them. Let's whisper sweet nothings in their ear. Let's tell them that they're beautiful, because nobody's ever told them that. And then they'll come and they'll give us all their votes and give us all their money. Like, for example, that whole debate over Ariel. Anybody follow that debate about Ariel, the Little Mermaid, and the Little Mermaid being black, and people were really mad because the Little Mermaid was black, and black people were mad that they were mad, and saying, oh, this ain't right, and da da da. Okay, that's fine. But remember, Ariel is a character owned by Disney. I give zero fucks about Ariel or the horse she rode in on, because that's a Walt Disney horse. You know what? My relationship with Disney is like this. I'm a stockholder in Disney, and if Disney's making money, I make money. So that's cool. I'm cool with that. I don't care if your Ariel is green or blue or purple, because here's the deal. My goal long term is to think about all those black artists and cartoonists out here whose work doesn't get the light of day, that nobody's paying attention to, who've been creating black characters for your ass for many years, and you can't even support them because you're so busy worried about what Disney did. You're so busy putting money in Disney's pockets that you're taking money out of the pockets of legit black artists in our community and cartoonists who have excellent storylines, excellent characters, just all kinds of great things, happening that you don't know about because somehow you think Disney is the place where all your money needs to go. So, I'm not going to say that I have a problem when we go see a Disney movie. I mean, I do too. I loved the Avengers. I like Black Panther. All that stuff was cool. But you can't get too carried away with that because at the end of the day, somebody else owns all of that. Like that's somebody else's stuff. Ariel does not belong to black people. And even things that black people claim are things that we typically don't even own. Like, for example, I know a couple. I know one guy really well from the different world. He played Ron. Daryl Bell. He played Ron, Dwayne Wayne's best friend on a different world. Daryl is one of my very good friends. He's been on this podcast. I'm gonna bring him back. Daryl, actually, we had an extensive conversation about a different world. And the thing about the different world that's fascinating is we really love a different world. Like we really feel like that's our show, like that's our shit. Like when we think about great black television, we think about a different world. Well, did you know that that most of the characters on a different world would love to do a reboot? They would love to bring the show back. You know why they can't do it? Because they do not own it. Black people do not own a different world. Do you know that if Jasmine Guy goes out and does the Whitley Gilbert accent and imitates Whitley Gilbert, like let's say she's on stage and she's like, Dwayne, blah, blah, blah. Like, do you know that she could get sued because literally they trademarked Whitley Gilbert's accent. She can't even go and do the accent without being sued by the people who own the accent. So the thing is that they're playing a different game. They're playing a powernomics game. We're playing a different kind of weird game, an affection, a love and relationships game or something that doesn't even exist. The powernomics game is that they're very conscious of what they own and what they control, because ownership leads to the ability to kind of shape the destiny that you want. So ultimately for black people, we claim a lot of ownership into things that we don't actually own. Like we emotionally own it, but don't actually economically own it or legally own it. And so I personally think, when I think about Ariel, I'm like, well, who owns Ariel? And where are the Ariels out here? Where are the Little Mermaids or whatever equivalent Little Mermaids out here that are black, that are owned by black people? We should probably funnel money into that too. So the thing about it is that when it comes to the economy and Donald Trump, Bob Johnson's right. The economy has done extremely well. I think that here's the thing about Bob Johnson that I would probably propose to him is this. I think that Johnson, and maybe it's because he's a little older. I don't know how old he is. I don't know if he's 70 yet, or he's probably definitely in his 60s. I imagine he's over 70 by now. I feel like Johnson's playing the wrong game. Johnson's playing the old political game that says, if you're not happy with the Democrats, then go vote for the Republicans. You're not happy with the Republicans, go vote for the Democrats. And I understand that. They're kind of like the Crips and the Bloods of politics. You pick, if you don't pick that gang, you feel like you got to pick the other one. But I think that there's also that other option, right? You don't have to be gang affiliated, right? Or you can form a new gang. Right. And so what I would ask Bob Johnson to consider is, rather than feeling like you got to vote Democrat or vote Republican, I think he should vote for black people. I think that would help his reputation in the black community. I think that would actually help the community. Johnson is not a person that should be thrown into the garbage, because Johnson, I don't know if you guys know, Johnson owns he has the largest black owned automobile manufacturer in the country. I think the company brought in, what is it? RLJ McCarty Landers Holdings, McLarty Landers Holdings. I can't even say it right. It's the highest earning black owned auto company with revenues of 1.8 billion. He also has a lot of other business ventures out there that are doing really well. And I'm happy for that. Now, what I think Johnson has to do though, is he's got to show some evidence that he's empathizing with, what black people are going through, what black people are trying to do. I think that in his personal life, he's actually exemplifying some of the ideas that you might see in this podcast. Black ownership, black economic power. He associates with lots of black, he'll go and do things with black enterprise, if I'm not mistaken. And he talks about black people a lot when he's talking about, candidates and things like that. He plays the game well in terms of not being overly committed to either Democrats or Republicans. He's moved back and forth, which I think is a good strategic move. But I think that what he probably should do or consider doing is, look at what Robert Smith just did, right? Robert Smith overnight gained a tremendous amount of respect and notoriety legitimately within the black community, because he went and gave a speech in Morehouse and didn't just talk. He talked with his money. He put his money where his mouth was. He paid off the student loans of all those black men in that audience, and everybody loved him for it. Maybe that's not the move for Bob Johnson. Maybe there's a different move, but I think that some sort of series of meaningful, well-publicized moves in the black community, economic moves that drive toward what black people really want now. The majority of black people want freedom, which is connected to ownership, things like that. A lot of black folks are tired of working for white folks. They want to quit their jobs. I think that if I was sitting down talking to Bob, I don't know Bob. I know people that know him, but I never met Bob. But if I was talking to him, I would say, okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we, raise $50 million and build some really amazing, basic yet state-of-the-art entrepreneurship, wealth building, and free enterprise centers all across the United States, in urban communities, where we can take all these young black people out here and older black people who want to change their lives, who want to elevate their thinking, who want to build generational wealth, who have free time on their hands, who have a lot of intelligence, and teach them to make black people the best wealth builders, investors, and entrepreneurs on earth. I could do this. Like, that's something I could do very, very easily. I have a PhD in finance, so I could teach stuff. I could literally change somebody's thinking in a matter of minutes, because I'm good at it. This is something I've been obsessed about for probably 25 years. And so, I think that a Bob Johnson, if he did something like that, it would not only get him a lot of respect in the black community, but I think it would be transformative. It would be absolutely transformative. Let me give you an example of where a lot of black wealth is lost. In the city of Chicago alone, 45% of all young black males between the ages of 20 and 24 do not have jobs, and they're not in school. So that is billions and billions of dollars of human capital that is being thrown into the toilet. Like, literally. I'm talking about young people that have energy, that have intelligence, and instead of spending their time learning, the game of success, they're learning the dope game, right? Instead of spending their energy and time, building and creating things that are going to help their lives, they spend their time dodging the cops or barely getting by or whatever, right? And so I think that, that sort of model where we literally replace or supplement and replace the college campus with black entrepreneurship and wealth building centers all across the United States would literally be a game changer that would help us actually to implement what I call Project 2070. We're gonna do this. By the way, in case you want to know, some of you are saying you should go ahead and do this. We're doing this already. That's where the Black Business School came from. The Black Business School came to me as an idea that came from God, where I said, instead of sitting here teaching all these white kids all the secrets to wealth and finance, why don't we use the internet, reach 1 million black people a week, and talk about economics every day like it's church, right? Because y'all may not know this, but when we're getting together, we're not just doing this ain't just entertainment. This ain't just teaching. This is church. This is a spiritual kind of thing, and there's nothing that black people understand better than church. Right? Why do I do it in that way? Well, because I believe that black economic empowerment should be the next religion in our community. Books like Powernomics should be the new Bibles of the black community, not to replace the old Bibles, but the new economic Bibles for black people. I don't have a hard time convincing black people of all backgrounds that black ownership and wealth building is the key to our future. It's not a hard debate anymore. It's not like I have to talk people into it, because they already want more money. They already want economic freedom. They already want to be happy. They already understand racism and oppression. They're already stressed out and frustrated by their jobs. So why not have these economic centers set up in every urban community across the country. I tried to get the guys at the Jordan brand to see that vision. I'm still working on them, but I don't know if they really see it the way I see it. They were talking about internships at Nike and all that. Man, fuck that. Fuck Nike. No disrespect to Nike, but I don't really want you. No, you know what? That's why I'm not thinking. That's why I lose friends, because I just tell you exactly what's on my mind. I don't really care about a bunch of black people going to work for Nike. Nike can't employ 10 million black people. Nike, they can't do it. They can employ 2 Negroes, maybe 5, maybe 10, or whatever. And that's it. That's not going to save a community. What's going to save a community is when you build from the ground up. You got to dig that shovel into the ground, go deep, plant some seeds, and water those sons of bitches until they grow into sycamore trees. That's how you rebuild a community. You don't rebuild a community with jobs and internships and one-off opportunities and picking your selected Negro out of 100 that gets that one opportunity that nobody else can get and leave the rest of the masses suffering. You go deep into the hood, and you start from the basics, and you make sure that we do some very basic things. What are some basic things that we believe in here? We believe in what I call the Black core of 3. I believe Black people should educate our own children, create our own jobs, and support Black businesses. I believe Black people should build their own economies. An economy is built by having a market for capital, meaning investors and people that can allocate those resources in an intelligent way. A market for contractors, meaning that you have people looking for jobs and people that can do the hiring. Black people were always looking for jobs, but we don't know how to hire anybody. We don't have that arsenal in place. And then the market for customers. If Black people are buying Black and Black suppliers are supplying the things Black people need, then Black people are suddenly building their own economy. And this is the vision that I see in the next 50 years. This is gonna happen. What I would say to the Robert Johnsons and we got Bob Johnson and Robert Smith. I get them mixed up. The Bob Johnson and the Robert Smiths is, you guys have the ability to accelerate this process. You can set it up where instead of it happening 80 years down the line, because I have a budget of maybe about 1.5 million a year. Well, imagine what I could do with a budget of 20 million a year, right? I would sit down for free with these guys and be like, look, here's what you do. Put the money here, put it here, hire a person to do this and this and this. And then next thing you know, you got an extra 100,000, 300,000 Black men a year and women a year being educated at the highest levels on the pillars of wealth. The 3 pillars of wealth are very basic. Entrepreneurship, knowing how to start your own business. Every Black child should know how to start their own business by the age of 12 as a rite of passage. In case they get sick of their job and want to quit, they have to have options. 2, investing. The key factor that differentiates wealth between the middle class and the upper class is stock market participation. Black people can learn how to invest in about 10 minutes. It does not take long to learn how to become a stock market investor. 3, real estate. Real estate ownership is one of the that's actually the biggest factor that divides the middle class from the lower class. When you are able to participate in basic things like home ownership and understand the value of it and can get the basic resources to make that down payment or whatever, then you're typically going to go from lower class to middle class. So when you look at Black people in the lower class, 2 steps to get us where we want to be. Get them from lower class to middle class, then get some of them from middle class to upper class. How do you get from lower class to middle class? You invest in real estate, you buy a home, whatever it is, maybe start a business, then you're middle class. Next thing you know, how do you get to upper class? Well, by investing consistently in the stock market through one generation, the next generation starts off here where you started off down here. It's a very simple equation, a very simple formula. And what I would love to see are the guys like Bob Johnson and others to literally form a coalition of Black millionaires and billionaires and bring that shit to light. Bring it to light. Ain't no white man gonna stop you from doing any of this. Now, don't get me wrong. Black Wall Street got burned down when Black folks started doing too well, right? So when they get onto this and they start seeing Black folks doing much better than we've been doing before, when we stop worrying about reparations and actually get into real reparations, we're actually looking around saying, wait a minute, a lot of us have more wealth than white people. Then yeah, you're gonna get some animosity from that. You're gonna get some jealousy and some other complications from that. But I really think that very basic things could be done. And I think for a guy like a Bob Johnson, I don't give up on Bob, because I believe Bob really wants black people to like him. I really do. If he didn't care, he wouldn't even address you. He wouldn't even talk about you. There's a lot of wealthy black people who don't even talk about black people, who don't even include black people in the equation. In fact, you could even criticize the Obamas for that a little bit. Not to say that they don't know that they're black, but they're very cosmetically black. I don't really see them going out really carrying the black flag and really repping for the things that are going to make black people truly empowered. They sort of rep for this kind of inclusion, this integration thing. Like, well, if we go in and we don't mention the fact that we're black and white people relate to us, then they'll come buy our books and we'll get to be filthy rich and our children get to go to Harvard and all that. I don't really want my children and grandchildren trying to go to Harvard. I want my children and grandchildren to be able to go to a university like the Black Business School that becomes the Harvard for black people. I want, if they're going to go on student loan debt, I mean, at least go into debt for a university that is part of your community, where that money is going to go into your own community, as opposed to going into debt with people that are going to take the money out of your community. Universities, unfortunately, as well, as much as they've been marketed to you as the pathway to success, they actually are the pathway to black economic destruction, because student loan debt is the greatest black wealth killer that there is. And universities are taking that money out of your pocket and they're gentrifying your communities. Some of the biggest gentrifiers in your city right now are the universities in your city. How many of you have a major university in your city? Does anybody have a major university in your city that's doing pretty well? I don't know, University of Pennsylvania, University of Chicago, or something like that. And tell me this, how many of you have noticed that these universities always have new construction projects happening? They're always buying buildings. They're always buying up neighborhoods that used to be black. Go to Pennsylvania or go to Philadelphia and notice how Temple University and Penn and all these places are literally taking neighborhoods that used to be black, taking money that came out of your pocket and buying your damn community with that money. That's what they're doing. They're buying up entire blocks. Well, I went to USC. There's construction projects set up everywhere. Why? Well, because they become the new Pablo Escobars. They're slinging this dope called the American Dream, and they're slinging it hard, and they're getting people to go deep in debt for this, and they're taking all that wealth, and they've got so much money that they don't know what to do with it. Because a lot of them are nonprofit and they have to spend it. So what are they doing? Well, they're paying the professors insane amounts of money. They're building massive football stadiums so they can further exploit black athletes, and they're buying up entire black neighborhoods so that the communities can be safe for their students. Like USC is kind of in the middle of the hood. They don't really want the stuff that comes with being in the hood. University of Pennsylvania is kind of in the middle of the hood. Yale University is kind of in the middle of the hood. So what's their solution? Well, like at Syracuse, it was in the middle of the hood. What was their solution? Well, they're like, we're going to go buy these hoods and we're going to kick the people out and we're going to build dorms and everything else in these areas, and we're going to keep on getting rich as the real estate values go up. So ultimately, we've got to sort of see the whole game and how it's being played and get away from those great, big, gigantic wealth transfers. So I think that a big transfer in our favor would be to do some very basic things. Set up hundreds of training centers for black people, incentivize them to attend, talk to them about attending these places like as if they were going to college. Provide capital for these centers. Do them like they do these incubators, where you bring a brother in, right? This is one example. Let's say you bring a brother in off the streets of Chicago who's a hustler, who wants to do well but doesn't know how to do well. So you say, look, man, instead of doing stupid shit to get money, let us show you how to do something that's going to help you actually get into a better economic position. So maybe you give him a little fellowship where he's got enough money to eat and pay his bills, so he's not out here doing stuff, distracting himself in order to get the money, and put him in there and incentivize him. Say, look, if you go through this and learn these basics on how to make money, how to start a business, then we'll give you a financial reward. We'll invest in your business. If you go through this other program on how to invest in the stock market, we'll give you some money to start investing. If you go through this other program on how to get involved in real estate, we'll help you get some capital that will let you buy your first home or whatever. What will happen is, and I've seen it happen 1,000 times, when these young people are presented with a new idea, when they are presented with new possibilities that go beyond the whole, like, go to school, work hard so you can go work for a white man who cusses you out every day, when they see that they have the chance to have freedom and greatness and success and actually be able to shape their own destiny, their eyes light up and you don't have to motivate them anymore because they motivate themselves. I don't know, has anybody seen this? Does anybody have a child that like maybe you introduce them to like investing or start a business or whatever, and once they made a little bit of money, they went crazy and they loved it, and that's something that they like, they talk about it all the time. That's what they want to do. I get emails like that from mothers all the time and fathers all the time who will tell me about the amazing transformation they saw in their children, particularly the boys. It's usually the sons, but the daughters are getting it too, of course. But like I'll hear some sister say, you know, and this happened 1,000 times. It's not just once or twice. This is systematic. And they'll say, I put my son in your Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, and before that, he was having trouble in school. I couldn't control him. His grades were terrible. And since he learned how to invest, he's all into it. He wants to read the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg, and he's talking about investments and assets, and I can't believe it. You know, and that's what happens. These young brothers, I think kids understand the real from the fake. That's what it is. You can't sell them a bullshit dream and have them buy into it. Eventually, they're gonna realize this is stupid. I don't want to do this. I was a terrible student in school. I was absolutely horrible in school when I was a kid. And part of it was because I was like, what is this for? This is dumb. I'm learning. I'm going to school every day, learning about how great white people are. You're having me read these books, these old English literature books that don't interest me. My own, you know, nothing about me is represented in any of these books. These teachers don't like me. I don't see any value in what it is I'm learning. It's not gonna make my life any better. But if you show me how to make some bread at the age of, in fact, that was the thing that motivated me. I started making a little bit of money when I was about 11 or 12. You didn't have to. My mama didn't have to force me to do that. I love that. Like I'm telling you, most young Black men, they love two things. They like playing sports and making money. That's what they love. Why? Well, because when you're a great athlete, all the girls like you, and when you got money, all the girls like you. So ultimately, at the end of the day, we know what it takes to motivate our kids. We know what it takes to educate our kids, and that's why I tell you guys from the jump. Black people got to educate our own children. Our kids got to be taken out of these shitty public schools and with these damn white women and whatever. These teachers they're making money off your kids like they're prison inmates. They run schools just like prisons, metal detectors, all security guards, all that stuff. And they're making money off your child. They don't care about your child. They're teaching the wrong things to your children. They're chastising your children just for being who they are. And they cannot teach them who they're supposed to be because they don't even know. They don't even care. They don't even teach them about Marcus Garvey. How in the fuck are you teaching a Black child and you ain't taught them nothing about one of the greatest Black men to ever walk the face of this planet? And then you wonder why we got so many Negroes out here brainwashed. Then you wonder why so many Black people out here backward and lost, depressed, alcoholic, sad, unhappy, and miserable, hate life or whatever. Well, because you never were taught who you are. You were never taught anything beautiful about being yourself and about sort of representing the people that you love. So anyway, I'm going to stop. I could talk about this all day because I'm convinced, like I have seen this vision in my head, and I'm not a stupid person, and I know it would work. And in fact, we're implementing this. We're doing this now. We're not just talking, we're doing this. But I would love it. I talk about it because I want you to think about this and decide if this is something you buy into. And if you do, that means, if there's some project that comes along that you believe in, we hope that you'll be a part of this. If you are a Bob Johnson kind of person who is watching this video now, maybe one of Bob Johnson's friends is watching and says, hey, Bob, you got to see this video. This guy, he cusses a lot and he's an asshole, but he actually has a pretty good idea, that benefits you, right? That will make you want to invest in Black people. Well, why not consider that? And again, I'm not saying Johnson doesn't already invest in Black people. In fact, actually, there's things I've seen that contradict what the public knows. For example, when I went to the Jordan brand, I know the president of the Jordan brand really well. He's a great guy. And I went out to the Nike campus and I went to visit them, and I just saw a lot of brothers walking around there. They invest heavily in Black people, but I think that there are ways to do it on a broader, more systematic level that will lead to substantive change in the entire community. And this is the right time to do it. The iron is hot, and this is when we should strike it. Why? Well, because now we got the rappers rapping about wealth. 10 years ago, rappers wasn't rapping about getting wealth. Rappers were rapping about wasting their wealth. Now you've got, some really respected artists, everybody from the Nipsey Hussles and the Jay-Z's on down, who are really talking about buying up the block. They're really talking about investing and growing their money. They're really talking about starting their own businesses. So the people are listening. We just have to provide the layout and the blueprint and the plan to make it happen. That's the big power move for Black people, and it's going to be global. It's not just going to be domestic. You must also learn to think about the diaspora, because back in Africa, there are people there waiting for African Americans to wake up and realize that we don't have a home necessarily in this country. This is one of our homes, but this isn't our only home. Our real home, our roots are actually back at home, where we can go there and buy land. We can do great business deals. We can reconnect. There are countries there that want to give you citizenship. They want you to come back. They want you to be connected. And that is where our strength lies, because Africa to this day is the richest the richest continent on the planet. It's just right now, everybody's getting rich off Africa except for African people. So anyway, let me read this. Please hit the thumbs up button. Ronique, thank you for your donation. I appreciate you very much. If you're Ronique, the Ronique West that I know, she's a very smart lady. Thank you for your support. She says, everybody tweet RLJ official and tell him we need him to meet with Boyce Watkins and Dr. Anderson to make this happen. Yeah, I would like that. Feel free to do that. And she put the Twitter hashtag RLJ official. And even if he doesn't meet with me, I mean, this video provides enough information, I think, that he can implement something like this. It doesn't have to involve me. I don't even care about that. I just want us to do what's going to work for us instead of wasting our time on the things that don't work. So anyway, so that's my analysis on Bob Johnson. As always, I plan to talk for like 20 minutes and I talk for an hour, but it looks like you guys got something from it, and I really enjoyed interacting with you. Now, as you know, earlier we talked about investing in the stock market and why that's important for building wealth. A lot of you have asked me all the time, how do I invest? How do I invest? Well, what we decided to do was to create a project where we want to get 1 million Black people invested in the stock market. It only takes about 10 to 15 minutes for me to teach you. There's a free training. It doesn't cost you a penny that you can access that will show you how to get invested tomorrow if you want to. You can go to blackmoney100.com, blackmoney100.com, and get started investing. We want to get to 1 million. So far, we've gotten to about 10,000, which is a start. I don't know how I'm gonna get to 1 million, but God told me to say 1 million, so I'm saying 1 million, even though I don't know how we're gonna get there. I can get to 100,000. I don't know. Getting to 1 million is gonna take a lot of work, but a lot of times you got to go ahead and put on a size 13 shoe, even though you got a size 10 foot. So hopefully my feet will grow in the next couple of years where we can actually get to 1 million. Also, don't forget the investing masterclass begins. The one that I teach in the Black Business School. It begins on the 16th. If you're interested, you can go to drboycemasterclass.com. That's drboycemasterclass.com. Use the code word PowerNow, and you can get half off the masterclass. If you're in the masterclass, make a comment, let people know how great it is so other people will want to participate. There's a money back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason, so there's no risk to you whatsoever. The other thing I want to mention is Rick Mathis out of Atlanta, very good brother. He made the movies Black Friday 1 and 2 that were really big Blackbuster hits, not Blockbuster, Blackbuster. They did really, really well. And he actually came to me to partner with me on a film about young Black people making money, young Black people building wealth. And the film is called Young Money Makers. That's the working title. And so he's doing a GoFundMe campaign right now to raise the funds that he would use to make this film. He knows how to do a lot of really good work on a budget. So I think like Rick could take $20,000 and make a film that is worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars. He's that good. So feel free to go check out the URL, the trailer, and the information at weyoungmoneymakers.com. That's weyoungmoneymakers.com. And that's the latest project from Boyce Watkins Films, our film division. You guys also know about the Black Love Blueprint, which is all about Black love and relationships and all that stuff. You can't build wealth if you can't build families, because family is one of the keys to wealth. So we got to restructure our families. We got to learn how to love and trust each other in order for us to build with each other. So if you want to check out that trailer, go to theblackloveblueprint.com. Okay, so I've given you guys a lot of information about a lot of things going on. And thank you for letting me share that with you, because we're not just talking, we're actually building. And we're taking the resources that we have and really trying to build a nation with this. And I know that we can do it. And I want to say hello to my homegirl, Vicky Dillard. Vicky Dillard is in here. And Vicky's going to join us at the All Black National Convention, which happens in September. And it's going to be in Houston. Willie D is going to be there. We got a confirmation from Willie D, D1, Nicole Price, a leadership expert. Who else? Dr. Claude Anderson says he's planning to come out. So we got a lot of great people coming out to Houston. Sorry guys, I'm choking a little bit. So if you want to come to the convention, go to allblacknationalconvention.com. That's allblacknationalconvention.com. So I'm going to get out of here because you guys can see I'm losing my voice now. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for listening. And God bless you all. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.